Hello, how are you? There is a very common nighttime habit that millions of people repeat every day, which can significantly increase the risk of stroke. In addition, it can raise the risk of heart attack, high blood pressure, diabetes, and even increase the risk of early dementia. I've listed the main nighttime habits. This video is very important, and I'll tell you in a moment which one is the worst. Stay until the end because you won't want to miss it. Before we start, I want to ask you if you think you already have any not so healthy habits at night. We all have a bit of self-criticism about the things we do at night. What do you think, before I start the video, is an unhealthy habit you'd like to change in your routine? Write it for me down here in the comments. If you can also take a moment to like the video. This is important to me because it shows that you support the channel, and it also helps you, because you'll start receiving more videos related to this topic that you enjoy. I've put together here the main habits that most people have in their daily lives, and that can be linked to very serious health problems. The first one is sleeping with the lights on or the TV on. Many people need a little noise or a small light to fall asleep, and they develop this habit, but it's actually one of the most dangerous habits for the heart. And it's scientifically proven that when there's light, especially white or blue light, our production of melatonin decreases. Melatonin is the hormone that regulates our biological clock, lowers blood pressure at night, reduces inflammation, improves blood sugar levels, and protects blood vessels. On the other hand, when you're in an environment with a lot of light and a lot of stimulation, your melatonin production decreases and your blood pressure can go up. Your blood sugar can also become unregulated and your blood sugar levels increase. You have a higher risk of insulin resistance, your heart rate speeds up, and inflammation in your body increases. So all of these are direct risk factors for stroke and scientifically proven cardiovascular diseases. So ideally, you should sleep in a dark, quiet room without flickering lights, without a TV, and without that big clock light that bothers you. Indirectly, this can greatly harm your hormonal secretion. In fact, there is a very common enemy nowadays in most people's bedrooms, which is the cell phone. There it is on the nightstand, charging throughout the night. That cell phone sometimes beeps, vibrates, shakes, makes noise. Even if it's on silent, it keeps vibrating there on your nightstand. Sometimes it's charging and there's that little charging light on. It harms you. Sometimes you may not actually wake up, but it still disrupts the depth of your sleep and can increase the risk of those other conditions I mentioned to you. The second problem, and a very bad habit, is people going to bed very stressed. I'm not talking specifically about someone who had a fight with someone at night, though of course that's definitely terrible, but about the person who is sometimes on their phone just looking at bad news, tragedies, wars, political problems, economic problems, work problems, family issues. They keep responding to messages right before going to bed. This is very complicated because when you go to sleep worried, irritated, anxious, or overwhelmed, your body secretes more cortisol. It goes into that fight or flight mode. So, with more cortisol and more adrenaline, we also have an increase in glucose, a faster heartbeat, higher blood pressure, and reduced sleep. And it also increases vascular inflammation, which in turn raises the risk of stroke. Another mistake, which is also extremely common, is not having a routine or a fixed bedtime, and this ends up disrupting the natural biological clock rhythm that our body has. Our body needs a consistent schedule, right? That's why we tell babies and children to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. But as we grow older, we stop worrying about this and start neglecting it, even though it's super important. Sleeping at a different time every day can mess up your melatonin, greatly increase your morning cortisol, and throw off that cortisol peak. It can raise your blood sugar, deregulate your blood pressure, and also disrupt the secretion of leptin and ghrelin. Ghrelin is a hunger hormone, so it can become overactive, reducing your self-control and affecting your food choices. And all of this increases the risk of diabetes, obesity, and can be a risk factor for strokes. Another common mistake, and one that I suggest that you really make this a top priority, is forgetting to take your medication at night. Some people have a set schedule for taking them. Oh, I have to take this medicine in the morning, this one with lunch, this one before bed, and sometimes, like before bed is a time when people sometimes are already getting sleepy and end up falling asleep, dozing off without realizing it. They end up forgetting to take this medication before bed. When they realize it, they're already in bed and feel too lazy to get up. And this is very dangerous, especially if these are the medications that protect your heart, which doctors usually prescribe at night because they work better then. Like statins, like metformin, and like antihypertensives, right? Metformin is for glucose, but statins and antihypertensives are for the heart. Usually, these medications are prescribed at night because we know that cholesterol is produced mostly during the night. Antihypertensives are used because they prevent nighttime hypertension, which is more dangerous, and metformin is to control blood sugar because it better controls the release of glucose by the liver during the night. So, when you don't take these medications at night consistently, it's not just one day you forget, but if every day, every week you skip them twice, this can also increase your risk. Another very common habit is caffeine consumption after 3 p.m. You might still sleep, but it's not really good sleep. And there are people who say to me, "Oh, Patricia, it's no problem. I can sleep and have caffeine coffee whenever I want before bed and I'll still fall asleep." You do fall asleep, but it's that kind of broken sleep because you can't get into a deeper sleep. And that deep sleep is the phase that helps regulate blood pressure, clear brain toxins, activate that lymphatic system that cleans the brain, stabilize your metabolism, and protect against stroke and Alzheimer's. So, if you're someone who has the habit of always drinking coffee in the afternoon after 3 or 4 o'clock, this will directly affect your sleep, the quality of your deep sleep, and it can also put you at risk. Another factor, and for me, this is the most serious one, is when a person snores a lot and doesn't look into it, just thinks it's normal, that it's something ordinary. Snoring is often associated with sleep apnea, where you actually have a suppression of breathing during sleep, and it can, in fact, cause a stroke. From our list here, it's the most serious factor. We know that sleep apnea causes this repeated drop in oxygen levels. The person has several episodes of apnea as if they were diving into a river or the sea, right? That's what apnea is, right? It's when your brain tissue doesn't get oxygenated. This suddenly increases your blood pressure, causes vascular inflammation, and can lead to arrhythmia and insulin resistance. So, when we have repeated oxygen deprivation over several nights, several days in a row, we have a 3 times higher risk of stroke, a higher risk of heart attack, and a higher risk of sudden death. Snoring is no joke. If you're someone who snores a lot, this could be related to apnea, and it's worth getting it checked out. Another issue is when the room temperature is unbalanced or not regulated. Sometimes people sleep in a room that's too hot. And I know that sometimes it can be complicated to tell you to turn on the air conditioner every day because it's expensive. But remember, at the very least, you can use a fan, sleep in lighter clothes, or use cotton bedding. That's a better option because when it's too hot or too cold, your body needs to spend extra energy on thermoregulation, working to keep your internal temperature within an ideal range, which is essential for allowing you to sleep well. This also fragments your sleep and worsens chronic pain. If you're someone who suffers from a lot of pain, this will make it worse. And once again, it causes micro-awakenings that can increase the risk of stroke. Lastly, I want to mention a mistake that affects many people, which is drinking too much water at the end of the day. It's not that there's a problem with staying hydrated, but when you hydrate at the end of the day instead of throughout the day, as you should. Because, for example, some people don't have the habit of drinking water in the morning or afternoon, and then at night, they end up feeling much thirstier, right? They drink a lot of water before bed and then go to sleep. Sometimes the person wakes up 2, 3, 4, even 5 times at night to urinate. That alone is already a risk. The person could trip, fall, and so on. But once again, these micro-awakenings, this fragmented sleep, increase the risk of high blood pressure, inflammation, insulin resistance, and arrhythmia, which can also raise the risk of stroke. So, anything that harms your sleep and makes you wake up more often during the night can increase the risk of stroke in the medium and long term and should be avoided. So, water is very important, but throughout the day, not at night. Let me know down below. So, did you realize if this was one of your bad habits? If you have this habit, are you going to try to change it today? I'd love to see your comment. And if you mentioned a different habit, one that I didn't include here in the video, what was it? Write it for me. I'd love to see your comment. Remember to like the video, it really helps me out. And share it with someone who will enjoy it, with someone who needs it. Let's work together to spread this chain of good. That's what I want here with the channel. See you next time. Bye.